The red-capped, uniformly attired hunters, of which one was a banker, another a plumber, a third a policeman, a fourth an undertaker, a fifth an underwriter, a sixth an escaped convict — you see the possibilities — went through a complete change of mind in Dolly's Dell and remembered their real lives only as dreams or nightmares from which little Diana had aroused them. But a seventh hunter, in green cap, the fool, was a young poet, and he insisted, much to Diana's annoyance, that she and the entertainment provided, dancing nymphs and elves and monsters, were his, the poet's, invention. I understand that finally, in utter disgust at his cocksuredness, barefooted Dolores was to lead check-trousered Mona to the paternal farm behind the perilous forest to prove to the braggart she was not a poet's fancy, but a rustic, down-to-brown-earth lass. And the last-minute kiss was to enforce the play's profound message, namely, that mirage and reality merge in love. I considered it wiser not to criticize the thing in front of Lo. She was so healthily engrossed in problems of expression, and so charmingly did she put her narrow Florentine hands together, batting her eyelashes and pleading with me not to come to rehearsals, as some ridiculous parents did, because she wanted to dazzle me with a perfect first night, and because I was, anyway, always butting in and saying the wrong thing and cramping her style in the presence of other people. There was one very special rehearsal. My heart. There was one day in May marked by a lot of gay flurry. Oh, it all rolled past, beyond my ken, immune to my memory, and when I saw Lo next, in the late afternoon, balancing on her bike, pressing the palm of her hand to the damp bark of a young birch tree on the edge of our lawn, I was so struck by the radiant tenderness of her smile that for an instant I believed all our troubles gone. "Can you remember," she said, "what was the name of that hotel? You know," nose puckered. "Come on, you know. With those white columns and the marble swan in the lobby. Oh, you know." Noisy exhalation of breath. "The hotel where you raped me. Okay, skip it. I mean, was it," almost a whisper, "the Enchanted Hunters?" "Oh, it was," musingly. "Was it?" And with a yelp of amorous vernal laughter, she slapped the glossy bowl and tore uphill to the end of the street, and then rode back, feet at rest on stopped pedals, posture relaxed, one hand dreaming in her print-flowered lap. Because it supposedly tied up with her interest in dance and dramatics, I had permitted Lo to take piano lessons with a Miss Emperor, as we French scholars may conveniently call her, to whose blue-shuttered little white house a mile or so beyond Beardsley Lo would spin off twice a week. One Friday night toward the end of May, and a week or so after the very special rehearsal Lo had not had me attend, the telephone in my study, where I was in the act of mopping up Gaston's king's side, rang, and Miss Emperor asked if Lo was coming next Tuesday, because she had missed last Tuesday's and today's lessons. I said she would by all means, and went on with the game. As the reader may well imagine, my faculties were now impaired, and a move or two later, with Gaston to play, I noticed through the film of my general distress that he could collect my queen. He noticed it too, but thinking it might be a trap on the part of his tricky opponent, he demurred for quite a minute, and puffed and wheezed and shook his jowls, and even shot furtive glances at me and made hesitating half-thrusts with his pudgily bunched fingers, dying to take that juicy queen, and not daring. And all of a sudden he swooped down upon it. Who knows if it did not teach him certain later audacities? And I spent a dreary hour in achieving a draw. He finished his brandy and presently lumbered away, quite satisfied with this result. "Mon pauvre ami, je ne vous ai jamais revu, et quoiqu'il y ait bien peu de chances que vous voyiez mon livre, permettez-moi de vous dire que je vous serre la main bien cordialement, et que toutes mes fillettes vous saluent." I found Dolores Hayes at the kitchen table, consuming a wedge of pie, with her eyes fixed on her script. They rose to meet mine with a kind of celestial vapidity. She remained singularly unruffled when confronted with my discovery, and said, d'un petit air faussement contrit, that she knew she was a very wicked kid, but simply had not been able to resist the enchantment, and had used up those music hours, oh reader, my reader, in a nearby public park rehearsing the magic forest scene with Mona. I said fine and stalked to the telephone. Mona's mother answered. "Oh yes, she's in," and retreated with a mother's neutral laugh of polite pleasure to shout off stage, "Roy calling!" And the very next moment Mona rustled up, and forthwith, in a low, monotonous, not untender voice, started berating Roy for something he had said or done. And I interrupted her. And presently Mona was saying in her humblest, sexiest contralto, "Yes, sir, oh surely, sir. I am alone to blame, sir, in this unfortunate business." What elocution, what poise. Honest, I feel very bad about it, and so on and so forth, as those little harlots say.